After years of development, early prototypes, and what felt like a long time of radio silence in my opinion, AEW Fight Forever is finally here. And I'll just get this out of the way. If you're a fan of old school wrestling games like WWF No Mercy, the PS2 SmackDown games, or Day of Reckoning on the GameCube, and you're a fan of AEW, you're gonna want to give this one a shot. But stick around because it also has some things that are not so great and has its limitations. As mentioned, this game has a lot of vibes from the heyday of wrestling video games from the N64, but also feels a lot like Day of Reckoning 2. Maybe 1? Also, I've just never played 1. I did, however, play No Mercy and Day of Reckoning 2 in preparation for Fight Forever to see how it would compare. Fight Forever actually feels like a nice blend of the two, with arena layouts, entrances, dramatic camera angles, and the classic special meter, all taken directly from those N64 games like No Mercy and even the WCW games. By the way, if you didn't know, this game is developed by Ukes and published by THQ, which, they did all of these games. But the controls feel a little bit more like an evolution of Day of Reckoning 2. On PS5 you use square for punches, triangle for kicks, X to grapple, hold X for a strong grapple, and then use X, square, or triangle plus directions on the left thumbstick to perform various moves. Use circle to run and L1 to guard or counter grapples, and R1 to guard or counter strikes. And the right thumbstick does taunts. Your momentum meter at the bottom of the screen fills up as you do better in a match, pulling off better moves, countering, getting the crowd more on your side to get that momentum going. Once it fills to signature, you can use the D-pad to perform your signature move, or do a taunt to enter special mode and use your finisher. You can even steal your opponent's finisher. It feels great to play, with a nice blend of those classic games with some modern quality of life and performance. Speaking of performance, I really haven't noticed any performance issues so far on the PS5. I'm really curious to see how this thing is going to run on the Switch and the Steam Deck, but it seems to be running at a consistent 60 frames per second at least. Even with 4 wrestlers in the ring, I haven't noticed any weird drops in frames. That's not to say the game runs perfectly when it comes to bugs or jank. Let's get this out of the way. No, this does not look like WWE 2K games, which go for that super realistic simulation feeling. Yes, this does look a little more simplified and kinda cartoonish in some ways. And yes, I am fairly certain that it was either intentional or was an artistic decision made based on budget and limitations. I've seen a lot of haters out there on social media in the comments for trailers and whatnot, using the tired old looks like PS2 graphics argument, and you know what? Honestly, great. Sick. Sign me up. The wrestler models actually do kind of vary weirdly from looking fairly realistic like Dustin Rhodes and Jeff Hardy, but then you've got like the Young Bucks and whatever they did to Chris Jericho. Really though, as cool as realistic graphics can look in games like WWE 2K23, the arcadey vibe here is on point and I for one welcome it. As for the roster, obviously not every wrestler can be in the game. The roster is pretty thick at what I think is around 60 wrestlers, but there are just some weird omissions. Now this game has been in development for a long time, so the roster already feels outdated. Wrestling moves pretty fast, so it's pretty understandable. But it's weird to see like Jeff Hardy, and yet Matt Hardy is DLC. You got Ruby Soho, but no Tony Storm or Jamie Hayter, John Silver, but nobody else from the Dark Order except for Brody Lee and Anna Jay. Obviously, they did what they could do. It's just a little weird and a little disappointing to see some certain people missing. It's also especially weird that some of the company's biggest stars like FTR are coming later as DLC. For exhibition modes, we've got your usual one-on-one matches, unsanctioned lights-out matches, Falls Count Anywhere, 2-on-2 tag team matches, 3-way matches, 4-way matches, the 21-man casino battle royale, ladder matches, and the crazy over-the-top exploding barbed wire death match.
Don, quickly, north-south position, 69 me, Don, 69 me, save me!
Each is pretty fun to play and can be played online, including online co-op for tag team matches. Unfortunately, being in the middle of a move and not being able to play online, and also the game not being out yet, I haven't been able to test out online play, but I look forward to giving that a shot as soon as I can. There's also mini games to play against the AI or with up to 3 friends. Right now there's only 3 mini games with at least a couple more coming through DLC. I don't know if you can unlock others, but yeah. While I could see these being fun with friends, honestly these were kinda one and done for me. Wrestling matches are limited to 4 people on screen at a time, so don't expect full-blown chaos in the Casino Battle Royale match like in real matches. I mean, it can get kind of chaotic in its own way though, with AI sometimes repeatedly trying to get to each other while blocked by somebody laying on the floor between them, or doing this thing, or sometimes it just going bonkers repeatedly trying to throw an opponent toward the edge of the ring to eliminate them with no luck. I was able to witness each of these multiple times in just a few matches, which is concerning, But honestly, this kind of jank brings some charm to the game that I fully expected to run into going in, and to me it's worth a good laugh. That's not to excuse it, I just think it's funny and it doesn't really bother me. Matches involving weapons do get pretty crazy and can also get pretty bloody, like AEW is known to do from time to time. You've got tables, chairs, various stick-like weaponry, fire extinguishers, and sometimes even bags of thumbtacks, which probably up the chaos more than any of the other weapons. Tables are pretty annoying to try to use in my experience. Setting them up doesn't always seem to work, and once you do, it's even trickier at times to actually smash somebody through them, especially because if you just walk into the table, it falls down. I hate that. Most other weapons just break after 2 hits, which is kinda lame. It is kinda neat that some of the weapons have their own unique thing, like if you hit your opponent hard enough with a chair, they'll go through it, or you can put them in a trash can. It just kinda helps some of the weapons feel more unique than just using a different shaped hitbox to smack your opponents around. Now the main single player story mode is called Road to Elite, where you can take any established AEW wrestler in the game or create your own original wrestler and take them through not only their own career coming up in AEW, but also through the history of AEW itself, opening with footage from when the company was starting out and touching on historical moments like when CM Punk debuted. And Road to Elite is honestly pretty nuts. You travel around from location to location and you have 4 turns to do various activities like training at the gym, eating to recover energy, sightseeing, and more, each with its own cheesy dialogue and cutscenes. Seriously, some of these feel like they could have been taken directly out of side quests from Yakuza. In a good way, with unexpected events like being challenged to matches or taking a selfie with Luchasaurus. Why not? After your 4 turns, you get to the next episode of Dynamite or the next pay-per-view and face your next match. You eventually also unlock optional side matches at Dark and Rampage to help you boost your stats and currency even further. I really want to see how crazy Road to Elite is gonna get, but with my limited time and being in the middle of a move while making this video, I haven't been able to see it all the way through. So far I'll say while it's not as fleshed out as you may find in WWE's current outings, it does not disappoint and feels like a fun way to spend some time wrestling. If you're creating your own wrestler, honestly right now it feels pretty limited. I'm hoping that more comes with updates and maybe that there's more to unlock that I haven't unlocked yet, but it just feels like there's a very limited amount of selections when it comes to making your wrestler look unique. There's only a handful of faces, hairstyles, and clothing options to choose from. I feel like even older wrestling games had way more customization than this when it came to making your wrestler look unique and cool. What's not limited is the amount of moves in the game, because holy cow, there are so many, and I got kind of overwhelmed to the point where I just selected a handful of moves that I wanted to try out and left everything else as is. So if you want to give your original wrestler at least a varied and unique selection of moves, you've definitely got the options here. All in all, AEW Fight Forever feels like a great first try. It feels like it's gonna be the WrestleMania 2000 to No Mercy, Day of Reckoning to Day of Reckoning 2, Raw to Raw 2, and so on. It's a game with a lot going on, but in a weird way it feels like it's the first game to what can hopefully one day be an amazing follow-up with tons more options. And if that is the case, the next game is going to be amazing, because Fight Forever is already a very solid experience, and there's a lot of fun to be had. Yeah, so that's all the time we got here today. This was just a random game review that is kind of in the midst of a bunch of other stuff. Like I said, I'm in the middle of a move and I don't super have internet on my main PC right now, and the room is just a mess. But I got more videos coming very soon as I can. In fact, I have another one probably coming this week if all goes well. If you're new here, subscribe and make sure to watch another video, which I'll have here. Okay, bye.